Soon, the team will break off their search for Bigfoot. Meldrum is anxious to return to Idaho to learn the results of the lab tests on the Bigfoot hair samples recovered by Rich Gere. In the meantime, they know that just beyond the firelight, the very creature they seek could be watching them. Far above the realm of Bigfoot lies another frontier. New life forms beyond imagination await us in the endless space we call the cosmos. When life is found on this infinite carpet of stars, the discovery will dominate the future of our species. Today, public opinion polls indicate more and more people believe in alien encounters. Witnesses on every continent have reported strange objects in the skies, unidentified flying objects that defy conventional explanation. But most scientists maintain that alien civilizations would never consider space travel as a means of contact.
This doesn't sound like the kind of thing that a smart alien intelligence would do.
Dr. Paul Horowitz is a Harvard physicist.
The cost of a round trip to the nearest star, using technology we could not conceive of actually building, but which is permitted by the laws of physics, would use $200 billion worth of fuel, would use the U.S. power consumption for 1 million years. I think perhaps the most diplomatic thing one can say is the laws of physics do not prohibit space travel, but the laws of economics, in some sense, really do.
But proponents of extraterrestrial contact point to a variety of evidence. Photographs of UFOs have been investigated by a host of researchers. And UFOs have been tracked by radar operators who know the difference between weather phenomena and something solid. Richard Hall is chairman of the Fund for UFO Research, a group composed of PhDs from various scientific fields.
The United States does not take UFOs seriously currently. However, there are certain countries like France and China, mainland China, and particularly Belgium, that have had many sightings and do take the subject seriously. In 1990, there were a whole series of radar visual sightings over Belgium involving state-of-the-art jet interceptors, multiple radars. None of this could be explained.
In 1990, the Belgian Defense Ministry, through radar and visual observation, confirmed an outbreak of UFO sightings. At one point, Air Force fighters were sent to intercept the UFOs, which were simultaneously tracked by airborne and ground radars. The Belgian jets locked onto the objects for 5 seconds before the UFOs sped away at speeds that would have killed a human pilot.
It is impossible, even with a stealth aircraft, to accelerate within 1 second from 150 knots till 500 knots. That is for sure. Because even the human body would not tolerate such an acceleration.
Thousands of witnesses, including the military and the police, reported sighting the UFOs. Consistent drawings of triangular objects were made by people scattered across the region. When authorities compared the sketches with eyewitness photos, the circle of evidence was complete. During this extraordinary press conference, Air Force Colonel Wilfried de Brouwer confirmed the sightings of unidentified flying objects in Belgian airspace. It was the first time a Western government officially admitted that such an encounter had occurred. While military pilots as well as U.S. and Russian astronauts have reported UFO sightings, many more have been made by civilians who never gave UFOs a second thought.
There's a little sloop sailing north on the river.
Sam Gerard and his wife Alice live along the Hudson River just north of New York City. Gerard is a retired oceanographer and senior research associate of the Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory of Columbia University. Alice is a former school administrator.
Yes. I really didn't know anything about UFOs before this incident. I thought they were most unlikely, and I didn't really believe in people who said they'd seen them until I saw one myself.
As a scientist, I was a complete agnostic. If I were to see one, I could then believe in it, but just to hear accounts of their existence was not any scientific proof as far as I was concerned.
On March 16, 1996, the Gerards were driving east on Veterans Memorial Highway. At 5:45 p.m., they saw a low-flying object through the trees.
We slowed down enough to determine that it was probably neither a helicopter nor a light plane.
Sam and Alice followed the object to Lake Tappan, where it hovered in one position high over the water. Sam made this sketch of a UFO covered with flashing lights.
You could see these lights even though it was a bright sun from the west and back of us.
It looked like a piece of junk jewelry because the lights didn't seem to be arranged regularly. They were sort of bright. They all seemed to me to be like electric light bulbs.
That were in the article in the paper that we...
Sam Gerard has designed instruments that were adapted for use during the Apollo project to the moon, but nothing in his experience explains the object he saw that afternoon.
I can state unequivocally that this was not a conventional aircraft, nor was it powered by any system that is understood even by people with a high level of understanding of technology.
Sam and Alice's encounter is the latest in a series of American sightings that began in a period following the Second World War.